I'm Dr. Srinivas Movva. I'm a cardiologist. So as you can see here, I have got a new poster here. The poster is of a black hole. This black hole is the center of our own Milky Way. This is the original picture of a black hole, of the center of Milky Way. So the name of this black hole is Sagittarius A star actually. So this was first photographed in May of 2021. So this video is intended to be a comparative study between basically a quantum physics, cosmology, study of black holes and Kali worship. I'll tell you first, let me describe the structure of a black hole, then we'll see how it correlates with Kali worship, Mahakali. As you know, the Milky Way is a spiral galaxy. Spiralic in the sense it's spiral towards, it is falling into something at the center of the galaxy. Something like you throw a bucket of water into a sink. So how the water spirals and finally it rushes towards a singular point. This was mathematically proved by theory of relativity by Albert Einstein in 1915 actually, mathematically. Of course, after that the work was carried out by many great scientists. Of course, the most famous is Stephen Hawking, who passed away in 2018. Unfortunately, he couldn't see the first picture of a black hole imaged in 2019. So that's the Meissner's 87, M87 black hole first pictured in 2019. It was a stupendous achievement by humankind. So as you know, if you take the Milky Way for example, if you see the sky, the center of Milky Way is between two galaxies, mostly in Sagittarius, at the border of Sagittarius, between Sagittarius and Scorpio. At the center of Sagittarius, there is the center of galaxy. So when they knew that could be the center of the galaxy, when they focused their telescopes to that point, they converted the whole Earth. They put 13 telescopes all over the globe and tried to point and see what's there in that. When they imaged close to the center of Sagittarius galaxy, they could find stars going around like this, suddenly bending and going around something which is there at the center. Two stars, for example, were imaged. So if you can, this video is there in YouTube. If you want to, you can see that. So a star goes around like this and suddenly takes a bend. So two stars were circling around and something in between them, which is dark, was pulling them so much that their orbit was bending. So this was known, of course, for last 25 years. But then after imaging of M87, Meissner's 87 black hole, then they use the same technology was used to image Sagittarius A. This is Sagittarius A- black hole. So briefly, what is the structure of black hole? As you know, a black hole is the center of our Milky Way. Any object which goes close to the black hole, for it the time slows down. So you feel the rushing of the other objects around you, the other galaxies and stars, but you slow down. As you move closer to the black hole, this is called time dilatation. So this is the Interstellar movie, if you can see, he has wonderfully described this. So you go closer to her, there is time dilation, and the physical entity, your time slows down. So next, this is beyond time. So this is singularity. So the dark part is called singularity. It is infinite beyond time, where there is no time. Any object which is pulled into the vicinity of this black hole revolves around. This is called as accretion disk. This is brighter here because this is closer to us. This is darker because away from us. They revolve. They are in something like orbit of the black hole. It revolves with great speed around the black hole here. So the center of it is dark. This is a shadow of black hole. This is not exactly the black hole. You don't see anything here because even the light which passes into this is pulled into it. So suppose if you go into a dark room, nothing is visible for you. Unless you throw a light touches an object, comes back to you and hits your eye, then you can see that. If there is no light, you cannot see anything. Exactly the same thing happens here. So there is a point, the innermost point of the shadow, called as event horizon or Schwarzschild's radius. This is mathematically, for every star, they can tell what is Schwarzschild radius. Okay, for this is called event horizon. Whatever goes inside the event horizon is lost forever into the black hole. There is one more very interesting feature here, what is called as a photon ring. This is not seen here, but there is inside a thin ball of light which is there as a ring inside the black hole. This is the closest to the black hole, called as a photon ring. This light which has escaped this accretion disk is around the black hole, meaning so many images of the black hole are around the black hole as a ring. That's the last what we can know about the black hole. After that, nothing is known. The only characteristic of a black hole by which it is diagnosed is intense gravity. Its intense attraction. Attraction power is gravity. Now, how intense is the attraction power? See, we have sun in our galaxy. It has 8 planets revolving around it because of its gravity. Our black hole has a mass of 4 million solar masses. 4 million times the mass of the sun is the mass of the black hole sitting inside this Sagittarius A. So those many times increased gravity or pull is experienced anyone going around that. So this is the structure of a black hole. Now my parallel to Kali worship, as you see here, this photo of Ma Kali. So this is a bright fire. Inside that is a black form which devours everything, which destroys everything. That is Ma Kali, which destroys everything, which devours everything. And her only characteristic is intense gravity, intense attraction to all creation. Whoever sees her feels that intense gravity. In fact, the whole of Milky Way is plunging into that black hole. So, same thing with all black holes basically. So, there is a parallel between these two. I'll tell you what is the parallel. I told you, any object which tries to approach the black hole becomes brighter and brighter. So, the mother bestows all the wealth to her devotees basically. You can see the example of Kalidasa. For example, he was a moron practically, until he worshipped Mother Kali and she bestowed upon him the knowledge for which he is famous for. So much so that in the whole of Sanskrit literature, there is no second to Kalidasa. First is Kalidasa, second is Anamika, third comes everyone else. So he is unparalleled. He doesn't have a second also. So that is bestowed by Mother Kali. So anyone who goes closer to the black hole becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. As bright as this finally jumps in. So where they are lost. So parallel with Kali worship, first I told you the image per se. Next, the characteristics of that person who approaches it. So is anyone working towards going there or being pulled by the intense gravity? So we think we are working towards her, but no, that we are pulled towards by the intense attraction and gravity of the center of the Milky Way. So if it is Mother Kali, then she pulls devotees towards her. We don't do anything. It's an illusion to think we are doing sadhana and we are progressing. We don't progress. Her grace, her attraction, her love actually pulls us towards her. And finally, we come to the orbit where the universe doesn't matter for us. We are in her orbit. We are circling around her only. We oblivious of the world. We are just into this orbit. Beyond this orbit is a photon ring where some people had, of course, the darshan of black hole or the mother is possible millions of light years away. But some people had a closer darshan of her. They are inside the photon ring. As I said, they are a ring of photos around her basically. People who have had a darshan. There are many people who had darshan of her, who had their own specific view of her, their own interpretation of her. First I said the only quality that a black hole has is its intense gravity. The presence of a black hole is known by the effect of that gravity on the stars around her. So for me, practically, the life of Sri Ramakrishna demonstrated that the effect of someone on Ramakrishna, like for example, we have at least 3 or 4 photos of him in Samadhi, in Bhava Samadhi. So that is the effect of the mother on him. So he was lost deeply in love for the first time. I knew that, okay, someone has so much effect on him. Her presence is known by her effect on Sri Rama. Of course, next, before him, overlap with him is Tralinga Swami. Tralinga Swami is known to be devotee of Kali, and the effect of the mother on him. Next, in the contemporary times, the effect of I have seen with my own eyes, Sri Kurtalam Swamiji, Siddharasana Swamiji, on him, the effect of Mother Kali on him, as written by him in his book. 3 examples of them. The photos of Sri Ramakrishna in Samadhi I have seen. Of course, physically I have seen Kurtalam Swamiji. So, the effect of her on them is an indirect evidence of her presence, her effect, her immensity is felt by the effect she has on them. Next, I have seen one great lyricist. He is a Telugu lyricist. His name is Sitharama Sastry. He did not even study Telugu. Was a science guy. He worked in a small job. Suddenly, he found that he can write great poetry, and he wrote such a wonderful poetry. He wrote thousands of songs. They are immortalized in Telugu literature. People still sing those, of course. Unfortunately, he passed away about a year back. So, an ordinary guy, he is bestowed with such a great poetry without even reading the language. So, how can that be? So, suddenly, nature has given that gift. What is nature? But her. I can go on giving you many, like Kalidasa, for example. Any amount of examples I can give you. Her effect, her presence is known by her effect on people around her. That's one. So, this is basically our. Lastly, what is Hawking radiation? Hawking radiation is her interaction. She just doesn't only attract and just draw people towards her, and we praise her as Smashanalaya Vasinim. She, the one who lives in a Smashana. This is the greatest Smashana possible. It is not Manikarnika. This is the greatest Manikarnika of all, where everything is drawn to her and destroyed by her. That is Mahakali, where she destroys everything. So she appears like she is destroying, but we are willingly drawn toward the power of her love and going basically towards her. And there is one what is called as Hawking radiation. Stephen Hawking has discovered in 1974 by pure mathematically, he said, there is a radiation which is coming out of a black hole, not just attracting everything and being silent, inert. She emits something called as Hawking radiation. So that is very, very subtle and very slow. Only a few particles are thrown out of a black hole. So Hawking radiation is a theoretical mathematical entity, meaning she communicates so subtly with some people. And there are only 2 qualities of her. She communicates and her effect on them with whom she communicates. These are the 2 physical signs by which her presence is known to humanity. Now, how does humanity oblivious of this? I have seen recently one example. I've heard of a story where 2 babies inside a womb are discussing with each other. What is beyond this uterus? For us, this uterus is the cosmos, our universe. What is beyond that? They absolutely have no idea what's beyond that. They are living inside the womb of a mother. So, they are obviously of it. Just because they don't know what lies outside the womb doesn't mean that there is something exists beyond that womb. So, though we know that or we don't know, our life, our view of life is confined to the small part on the earth. But earth, solar system, Milky Way, space, and the center of Milky Way, which is this galaxy. So we need not know that, but that doesn't mean that does not exist. It exists, and it is known by her physical qualities like gravity. Gravity in turn is attraction and love. So I think this is a comparative study between Einsteinian, the theory of relativity, cosmology, some part of maybe quantum physics, and Kali worship. So I think I'm not trying to impress anyone. This is just a comparative study which I have seen, and I am trying to tell you what I have seen. Thank you.